In the hallowed halls of American political history, few rivalries have left as indelible a mark as that between John F. Kennedy and Richard Nixon. The clash between these two titans of the political arena, culminating in the 1960 presidential election, was a watershed moment in U.S. politics, forever altering the landscape of electoral campaigns and redefining the role of television in shaping public perception. The political saga unfolded against the backdrop of the Cold War, with the United States locked in a tense struggle with the Soviet Union. It was an era of ideological battles, nuclear anxieties, and the persistent specter of global conflict.
In this charged atmosphere, Kennedy and Nixon emerged as the standard bearers for their respective parties, setting the stage for a contest that would captivate the nation. John F. Kennedy, scion of a wealthy and influential family, exuded charm and charisma.
Born into privilege, he had served in both the House of Representatives and the Senate before setting his sights on the highest office in the land. His candidacy represented a departure from the norm, a youthful vigor challenging the more conservative traditions of American politics. On the other side of the aisle stood Richard Nixon, a seasoned politician who had cut his teeth during the tumultuous years of World War II. Nixon's political journey had taken him from the House of Representatives to the role of vice president under Dwight D. Eisenhower. Yet, despite his experience, Nixon faced the daunting task of dispelling the perception that he was a stodgy establishment figure. As the 1960 election loomed, both candidates grappled with the rapidly changing dynamics of American society. The nation was at the cusp of a new era, and the electorate yearned for leadership that could navigate the complexities of a shifting world.
The contrasts between Kennedy and Nixon were stark, not only in terms of age and demeanor, but also in their approach to the challenges of the time.
One of the defining moments of the campaign was the series of 4 televised debates between Kennedy and Nixon. It was a groundbreaking move, the first time presidential candidates would directly engage in televised debates. The significance of this format was not lost on either contender, but it was Kennedy who seemed to grasp its potential with more finesse.
The first of these debates, held on September 26, 1960, marked a turning point.
Kennedy appeared calm, collected, and telegenic, exuding a youthful vitality that resonated with viewers. In contrast, Nixon, recovering from a recent hospitalization, appeared pale and haggard. The power of television in shaping public perception became evident as those who listened to the debate on the radio tended to favor Nixon, while those who watched on TV overwhelmingly leaned towards Kennedy. Nixon's discomfort in front of the camera underscored a broader challenge: adapting to the evolving nature of political communication. The Kennedy-Nixon debates laid bare the influence of visual media on public opinion, heralding a new era where charisma and telegenic appeal would become integral to political success. The campaign itself was a whirlwind of cross-country tours, impassioned speeches, and a relentless pursuit of voter approval. Kennedy, with his glamorous wife Jacqueline by his side, crisscrossed the nation, presenting himself as a beacon of hope and change. Nixon, on the other hand, focused on his experience and a promise of stability in uncertain times. The issues of the day ranged from domestic concerns to the pressing challenges posed by the Cold War. Kennedy, with his eloquence and youthful energy, articulated a vision that resonated with many Americans. He pledged to get the country moving again, emphasizing economic growth, civil rights, and an assertive stance against the Soviet threat.
Nixon, however, positioned himself as the seasoned statesman, drawing on his extensive experience in international affairs. He highlighted the need for a steady hand at the helm and sought to portray Kennedy as lacking the depth and gravitas required for the presidency.
The election itself was a nail-biter. With both candidates locked in a fierce battle for electoral votes, as the nation held its breath on November 8, 1960, the final results revealed a razor-thin margin of victory for Kennedy. He secured 303 electoral votes to Nixon's 219. With a popular vote difference of just over 110,000 out of the nearly 69 million cast, Kennedy's triumph marked a historic moment. He became the youngest person ever elected to the presidency and the first Catholic to hold the office. The election of 1960 signaled a generational shift in American politics, with the torch passing from the old guard to a new, more dynamic leadership. The aftermath of the election saw the two rivals navigating the complexities of transition. Nixon, gracious in defeat, acknowledged Kennedy's victory and pledged his support for a smooth transfer of power. The graciousness, however, masked the bitterness that lingered beneath the surface. The Kennedy-Nixon rivalry did not end with the 1960 election. In fact, the two men would find themselves on opposite sides once again in 1962, when Nixon ran for the governorship of California and suffered another defeat. The rivalry, fueled by ideological differences and personal ambition, would persist over the years. Kennedy's presidency, though cut tragically short by an assassin's bullet in 1963, left an indelible mark on American history. His legacy, often romanticized, included landmark achievements such as the establishment of the Peace Corps, the Cuban Missile Crisis resolution, and the push for civil rights legislation.
The mystique of Camelot, a term used to describe the Kennedy presidency, endures in the American political imagination.
Meanwhile, Richard Nixon embarked on a political journey that would see both triumph and disgrace. In 1968, he successfully ran for the presidency, marking a remarkable political comeback. However, his presidency would be marred by the Watergate scandal, leading to his resignation in 1974. A tarnished legacy that would forever be associated with political malfeasance. The Kennedy-Nixon rivalry, while rooted in the political dynamics of the 1960s, had lasting implications for the future of American politics. The televised debates of 1960 set a precedent for the role of media in shaping public perception of political candidates. The emphasis on charisma, telegenic appeal, and the ability to connect with voters through the lens of a camera became integral components of modern political campaigning. Moreover, the Kennedy-Nixon rivalry reflected the broader societal shifts occurring in the 1960s.
The nation was at the cusp of a cultural revolution with the civil rights movement, the anti-Vietnam War protests, and the rise of youth counterculture, reshaping the fabric of American society.
Kennedy, with his youthfulness and promise of a new frontier, embodied the aspirations of a new generation, eager for change. In contrast, Nixon, with his more traditional approach, represented a lingering attachment to the values of the past. The clash between these two visions encapsulated the tensions of a nation in flux, torn between the desire for progress and the yearning for stability.
The Kennedy-Nixon rivalry also underscored the enduring theme of personal versus political in American politics.
The two men, with their divergent backgrounds and contrasting personalities, personified the dichotomy between the private individual and the public figure. Kennedy's charisma and charm often obscured a complex personal life, while Nixon's stoic exterior concealed a man grappling with insecurities and self-doubt. As the years unfolded, the Kennedy-Nixon rivalry became a touchstone for political historians and scholars, offering insights into the dynamics of leadership, the impact of media on politics, and the intersection of personality and policy. The televised debates, in particular, became a case study in the power of image and presentation in the realm of politics.
In conclusion, the rivalry between John F. Kennedy and Richard Nixon was a defining chapter in American political history.
Their clash in the 1960 presidential election, punctuated by the transformative impact of televised debates, left an indelible mark on the nation's political consciousness. Beyond the electoral contest, the Kennedy-Nixon rivalry reflected the broader societal changes of the 1960s and set a template for the modern political landscape. As the two men stood on opposite sides of the political divide, they became emblematic of an era marked by idealism, ambition, and the relentless march of progress.